Initially, no one paid attention to the disaster. The protagonist, Takashi, stayed back a grade to be with his childhood friend, Miyamoto, and his best friend, Igo Hisashi. He was so despondent that he skipped classes and stared blankly from the school balcony. During this time, Saya, a genius classmate who had grown up with Takashi since elementary school, tried to comfort him over his heartbreak, but Takashi ignored her. As Saya turned to leave, a sinister man appeared at the school gate, his face ashen, banging on the gate violently. A patrolling teacher quickly approached the man, who remained silent, increasing the intensity of his banging. Unseen by others, a chunk of flesh had been bitten off his back, leaving bloody marks. When the teacher grabbed the man by the collar, he was attacked. The physical education teacher, splattered with blood, fell, and other teachers screamed in horror. Soon, the physical education teacher got up and began to attack the attractive female teacher. Realizing something was wrong, Takashi immediately rushed into the classroom, where he was prepared to take Miyamoto away in front of the teacher. His best friend asked what was happening. Takashi whispered that someone had been killed at the school gate and slapped Miyamoto, who refused to leave. Saya and Kota at the neighboring desk also overheard. The trio, Takashi, Saya, and Kota, hurriedly left the classroom. Their friend found weapons for them, but Takashi, a black belt in karate, believed he didn't need one. Miyamoto called her father, a police officer, but the police line was busy. Miyamoto then realized the gravity of the situation. Just then, the school's PA system announced a violent incident, but the next second, desperate pleas for help came through the broadcast, plunging all the students into panic. However, the panic was just the beginning of the tragedy. Students rushed out of their classrooms with no sense of order or discipline, making it impossible to exit the teaching building. The best friend reacted quickly, leading Takashi and Miyamoto to the neighboring comprehensive laboratory building. There, they encountered their zombified Chinese language teacher. Miyamoto, initially nervous at the sight of the zombie, but being the head of the spear club, quickly responded by stabbing the zombie with a spear. However, the zombie, impervious to pain, used the spear to strike back at Miyamoto. After Miyamoto was knocked down, the best friend tried to pull the zombie away. Takashi urged him to leave the zombie, but it was too late. The zombie twisted its head around and bit him. Attacks from Takashi and Miyamoto had no effect. Miyamoto asked Takashi to think of something. Gritting his teeth, Takashi smashed the zombie's head with a baseball bat. They realized that if they were surrounded, there would be no escape. The best friend suggested heading to the rooftop, which offered a good vantage point and a chance for aerial rescue. Looking out, the entire city was in chaos. Self-defense force helicopters flew overhead, ignoring Miyamoto's calls for help. Chaos reigned both outside and inside the school. Close friends planning to escape betrayed each other at the moment a zombie grabbed one of their feet. Those unwilling to accept reality chose to jump off the building. The monsters could only be killed by smashing their heads. The trio aimed for the observatory platform on the rooftop, deciding to rush there and block the staircase. Fortunately, their plan succeeded, and they waited until dusk. The best friend, bitten and infected, was in a critical condition. Knowing his situation was dire, he asked Takashi to let him jump from the building. He did not want to lose his mind and turn into a zombie. After his body contorted and he fell, as the sunset rose, Takashi, holding the distraught Miyamoto, reluctantly used the baseball bat to kill his best friend. Miyamoto was furious, thinking Takashi had acted out of jealousy because she had dated the best friend. As Takashi turned to go downstairs to fight the zombies, Miyamoto panicked, admitting she had spoken in anger, and held Takashi back from facing the danger alone. Miyamoto then took Takashi's phone to call her police officer father on his private line. Her father, not realizing it was his daughter calling, advised them to leave the school immediately for a safe haven. Then, gunfire erupted, and the call suddenly cut off. On the other side, Saya and Kota quietly left the classroom after seeing Takashi pull Miyamoto away. This move gave them some advantage. Saya, being smart, knew that alerting the teachers would be futile and started to escape with Kota. Kota asked if they should leave the campus to find the police or the self-defense forces. Saya shook her head, reasoning that if they were still operational, they would hear the alarm bells. With the teaching building in chaos, their only choice was to flee. Meanwhile, in the medical room, teacher Marikawa almost got attacked. A male student stepped forward to protect her, but was severely bitten. Just as the zombies were about to attack Marikawa, the Kendo Club president Busujima appeared. She praised the boy's bravery, and before he turned into a zombie, helped him end his suffering. Facing the incoming zombies, Busujima pleasingly grasped her weapon. Saya and Kota rushed into the logistics classroom. Saya quickly noticed Kota's potential as a military tech enthusiast and picked out a bunch of weapons for defense. Kota changed his demeanor completely when he got a pneumatic nail gun, looking quite professional. After checking the weapon's reliability, zombies broke into the room. Kota started firing the nail gun, and he asked Saya to pick up a nearby high-pressure gas cylinder. After dealing with the zombies, they hurriedly left the logistics room. Takashi also started attacking zombies with a high-pressure water gun. The two fought off the surrounding zombies and then used baseballs and spears to break through. They decided to leave school and head home. As childhood friends, they lived close by. Although Takashi appeared calm, he was quite anxious inside. With the school in such a state, he wondered about the condition at home. However, to reassure Miyamoto, he had to pretend to be composed. At that moment, Saya discovered through using a cloth that zombies had no sense of pain, limited vision, but very sensitive hearing. Just as they were preparing to leave, they were unexpectedly surrounded by zombies approaching from behind. Busujima and Marikawa hurried to the teacher's office, as Marikawa's car keys were there. Although Busujima could easily headshot zombies, they were outnumbered at that moment. Initiating a fight would likely lead to being surrounded. Seeing Marikawa's tight skirt hindering her movement, Busujima didn't hesitate to tear it, exposing her thighs. Although risky, this significantly increased her agility. Kota and Saya found themselves trapped by the teacher's office door. Kota's nail gun ran out of ammo, and Saya, frightened by zombies approaching from behind, screamed in fear without reloading. Both Takashi and Busujima heard her scream and hurried towards Saya's location. In extreme panic, Saya picked up a power drill from the ground and drilled through a zombie's head. Once reunited, the four quickly eliminated the zombies. Busujima locked the main door, and the five introduced themselves. Overwhelmed, Saya blurted out criticisms at everyone. Busujima didn't blame her but comforted her by patting her shoulder, which calmed Saya down enough to break down crying in her arms. Saya cleaned herself up in the teacher's office, switching from contact lenses to more stable glasses. As Marikawa's car could not fit 6 people, Busujima suggested using the school bus, with the keys also located there. Kota mentioned the bus was parked on the school field. The group decided to check their homes first to see if anyone needed rescuing. Watching TV, Miyamoto learned that the news anchor had been attacked and that zombie outbreaks were not confined to Japan but were occurring worldwide. The rapid escalation of events within just a few hours left Miyamoto horrified, barely able to fathom what might happen next, yet naively hoping for a restoration of normalcy. However, Saya shattered her illusions. This was an epidemic outbreak, preceded by a strange flu. The last famous instance was the Black Death, which killed 1/3 of Europe's population. The disease faded only when there were no more people to infect. Marikawa reassured everyone that since it involved the dead coming back to life, the bodies would decompose in just over 20 days during the summer, so there would eventually be no need to worry. Saya, however, felt that the revival of the dead was beyond medical scope and prepared for the worst. Therefore, deciding where to take refuge after visiting their families was crucial. Busujima suggested forming a team since acting alone would be dangerous, and they should try to take any surviving people from the school with them. The team had 3 melee fighters, 1 ranged fighter, 1 strategist, and 1 healer. Their coordination was exceptionally smooth, and they soon encountered surviving students in the stairwell. The nearest exit was the underground garage door. Saya suggested that the zombies might only have their hearing left. The group decided to test this theory. Takashi volunteered to act as bait first. He descended very quietly, making no noise, and indeed, the zombies did not detect him. Then, using a shoe, Takashi threw it against a cabinet to attract the zombies' attention, successfully luring them away. The group took this opportunity to descend the stairs and prepare to leave the building. However, the rescued boys' weapons clanged against the stairs, creating a loud noise heard throughout the school. Takashi urged everyone to run. Surrounded by zombies, Kota was unsure where to begin. Takashi stepped forward with a baseball bat, leading the charge covered in blood. The three melee fighters unleashed havoc. One of the boys, unarmed, was attacked by zombies. He told his girlfriend to run, but she chose to die with him instead. Marikawa understood the girl's decision. Fortunately, she was not romantically involved, so she was not distracted by love at that critical moment. Eventually, everyone reached the bus safely. Kota opened the window to check the safety outside the vehicle. Takashi and Busujima cleared the zombies around. Teacher Marikawa looked confusedly at the bus's structure. Meanwhile, a group of students and teachers ran onto the sports field. Miyamoto immediately recognized one teacher as Fuji. Her pupils narrowed, and she quickly grabbed Takashi, stating that such a scoundrel was not worth saving. Takashi was puzzled, and when Fuji learned a student had twisted an ankle, he kicked the student away and boarded the bus himself. Marikawa finally found the accelerator when the bus door closed. She floored it, and the bus headed straight for the school gate. A line of zombies blocked the way, but Marikawa gritted her teeth and plowed through them, then burst through the gate onto the street. Fuji acted strangely upon learning the small squad had no leader, asserting the need for a leader. Miyamoto warned Takashi that saving Fuji would be regrettable. If you know the truth, just say it. How can anyone understand if you don't speak up? Indeed, when the rescued students learned they were heading into the city to save people, they protested. Why risk their lives instead of hiding in a safe convenience store? Busujima asked what they wanted to do. Blondie openly disparaged Takashi. Kota, grasping his gun, was about to show him, but Saya stopped him. Miyamoto knocked Blondie to the ground mercilessly. You can ride if you want, or get lost. Fuji claimed this disunity was why the team needed a leader. As a teacher, he was the natural choice. Fuji's students trusted him blindly, and with their support, he actually became the leader. Miyamoto, infuriated, kicked open the bus door and left. When Fuji decided to abandon Miyamoto, Takashi immediately followed her. Just then, a bus full of zombies overturned, blocking both the road for the bus and the path for Takashi and Miyamoto. Busujima got off to check on them. Takashi told her the road was blocked. They planned to head to the East District Police Station by 7 p.m. They would regroup there. If not today, then the same time the next day. Busujima, seeing the situation was dire, nodded in agreement. She then got back in the bus and instructed Marikawa to take a detour. The bus exploded, and Takashi led Miyamoto by the hand out of the tunnel. They were unexpectedly attacked by a zombie wearing a helmet. Fortunately, Miyamoto reacted quickly and smashed the zombie's head. They left the tunnel hand in hand and found the motorcycle of a rider zombie below. The two rode off on the motorcycle. A fighter jet, collecting evidence in the deserted city, captured images of Miyamoto and Takashi fleeing. Although they had left the campus, the city's situation was not much better. They roved the city streets but saw no living people. Zombies chased living people away, so the streets were also devoid of zombies. Miyamoto spotted a police car with its lights on. They planned to steal it but found it heavily damaged by a truck upon closer inspection. Miyamoto decided to search it for usable weapons and indeed found a handgun with a full magazine of 5 bullets, handcuffs, and a stun baton. She also retrieved remaining bullets from a broken handgun next to the co-driver's corpse. Having a police detective as a father, Miyamoto was familiar with firearms. Armed, they headed to a gas station to refuel. It was self-service and required payment. Takashi and Miyamoto, having fled in haste, had left their money in their backpacks. Reluctantly, Takashi told Miyamoto to wait outside while he entered the convenience store to get some change. He had just taken the cash from the register when Miyamoto was attacked. A deranged thug, holding a knife and not yet zombified, had snapped. He grabbed Miyamoto, starting to assault her. Miyamoto whimpered, and Takashi demanded he let go immediately. The thug disregarded Takashi's request and demanded the motorcycle, threatening Takashi to drop his baseball bat. Takashi complied, and the sound of the bat hitting the ground attracted zombies. After refueling, Takashi again demanded the release of Miyamoto, but the thug refused. When the thug attempted to attack, Takashi quickly stepped forward, aimed his gun at the man's shoulder blade, and shot him. The man fell to the ground, covered in blood. As Miyamoto was about to retaliate, Takashi stopped her because zombies had surrounded the gas station. The thug, previously the hunter, now lay in a pathetic heap, watching in horror as the zombies closed in. This was just the first day of the outbreak, and such madness had already occurred. Takashi dared not think about what might happen next. At Tokyo Airport, the crew checked the plane and found no infected persons. But zombies had besieged the airport. Fortunately, a police sniper with purple hair was on standby. She shot a zombie dead, then rubbed her chest, paralyzed from the position. Her name was Nan Rishan, Japan's top police sniper. She and her colleague, who were on an anti-terrorism mission, accidentally encountered the zombie outbreak, almost causing a riot at the airport. Nan Rishan planned to leave the airport soon, as her friend Marikawa was waiting in the city. Meanwhile, Marikawa and others were stuck in traffic. Fuji was holding forth inside the vehicle. Saya woke Kota to discuss their next destination. Considering current trends, fleeing people were heading to independent locations with military bases, such as Okinawa, a U.S. military site. However, Saya felt Hokkaido or Kyushu might be safer. They guessed that planes would likely head to those places. Kota asked if they should go there too. Saya shook her head, saying it was too late now. The government had been caught off guard yesterday, and today the military had suppressed the zombies and was likely to start a thorough screening of survivors. Being stuck outside was now even more dangerous, likely leading to more self-preservation groups among civilians. Their group, however, was at risk as Fuji had begun brainwashing students. Kota raised his gun, wondering whether to end Fuji's influence. Saya sighed, wishing Takashi were there. Kota revealed the truth, asking Saya if she liked Takashi. Busujima and Marikawa watched with interest. At this time, Takashi and Miyamoto were navigating through traffic in a vehicle. Some had started forming squads, attacking anyone passing by, zombie or human. Takashi floored the accelerator, breaking through the blockade with Miyamoto. They had planned to cross a bridge, but it was too congested with vehicles and looked dangerous ahead. Takashi decided to take another route with Miyamoto to meet up with Busujima and others. On the bridge, the police were maintaining order. Some students, ignoring the order, refused inspections and tried to cut in line, climbing over the wall, only to be knocked into the river by a police water cannon. Meanwhile, Fuji continued to brainwash the students, claiming Takashi and Miyamoto were unfit to be teammates. Saya and others disliked Fuji. Busujima was considering abandoning the bus to cross the bridge to meet Takashi. Her father was abroad in a dojo and she had no other family at home. She was mostly concerned about her promise to Takashi. Marikawa's home was on the other side of the bridge, and Kota's parents were overseas. Despite Kota's appearance, his family background was quite distinguished. Marikawa also decided to leave with the group, disliking teacher Fuji. As the four prepared to leave, Fuji tried to keep Marikawa behind. Kota lost his temper and shot at Fuji, frustrated by past grievances at school and threatening to shoot him in the head if provoked further. Fuji, only good at talking, could only watch helplessly as the four got out of the vehicle. Meanwhile, Takashi and Miyamoto were looking for another road when they unexpectedly heard the sound of a gunshot. After leaving the vehicle, Kota and the others were ambushed by zombies on another bridge. Busujima fought alongside Kota, and Marikawa tackled Saya, saving her from a zombie attack. Just as they were about to be surrounded, Takashi, with Miyamoto, drove a maintenance van from beneath the bridge, flying up. The vehicle crashed through the zombies while Miyamoto swung a club to clear them. Takashi handed a pistol to Kota, who fired 2 shots. Takashi continued forward, grabbing Busujima's hand, and together they executed a combination attack, defeating the zombies. After regrouping, everyone took a brief respite, but they still had not found a way to cross the river. Marikawa remembered that a friend had a house nearby. It was a 2-story villa with a convenience store close by. Most importantly, her friend had an armored vehicle and had left her a key. As it was getting dark, everyone decided to rest for the night. Takashi rode his motorcycle with Marikawa to the house first. Then he drove the armored vehicle to pick up the others. The area was enclosed by a wall, but zombies were already nearby. Saya handed Takashi a crowbar, and the group broke into Nan Rishan's house. The news was still broadcasting that the number of infected in Japan was about to reach 10 million, but the people inside the house were unconcerned. The 4 girls stripped and rushed into the bathroom. Miyamoto and teacher Marikawa bathed together, and Miyamoto was stunned by her impressive cleavage and couldn't control his wandering hands. Saya and Busujima splashed water at each other, adding to the frolic in the bathroom. Meanwhile, outside the bathroom, Takashi and Kota found a bullet supply. Kota led Takashi to pry open a cabinet, discovering 3 sniper rifles displayed inside. Kota was completely thrilled. Takashi also found a shotgun in the cabinet. If possible, both wanted to aim their guns at zombies only, but they knew that humanity was scarce in these times. Kota began skillfully loading and aiming the guns. He had even received firearms training in the USA. The two speculated about the identity of Marikawa's friend. Meanwhile, the girls in the bathroom were causing a commotion. Fortunately, the main bridge nearby continued to attract zombies, so the noise inside the house didn't draw any attention. However, the police maintaining order were also facing difficulties. The upper levels were struggling, and therefore issued orders: eliminate zombies at all costs. The chaos had become severe by the second day. Takashi saw people protesting through his binoculars. The TV was on. These people believed the US and Japan had leaked biological weapons. At that moment, the police opened fire, unable to resist the zombies. Protesters thought the zombies killed were ordinary citizens and started condemning the police. The chief knew that continuing this way would only lead to more chaos, so he shot and killed the protesting man, causing complete turmoil at the scene. The broadcast was cut off, and Takashi realized they needed to act quickly. Kota knew that being outside at night was too dangerous. At that moment, a hand reached out from behind Takashi. It turned out that Marikawa had quietly had some drinks, wearing a bathrobe and acting inappropriately towards Takashi and Kota. Kota got distracted by a kiss and went to guard outside. Takashi carried a sleepy Marikawa downstairs, only to find Miyamoto also drunk. He quickly settled both downstairs. Takashi wanted to find some food, but turned around to see Busujima in a revealing apron. Despite the battles they had been through, Busujima still trusted Takashi and Kota's character. Meanwhile, Miyamoto insisted on talking to Takashi, discussing past close friends. Already troubled by his relationship with a friend and having killed a zombified friend, Takashi lost his temper. Miyamoto responded by kissing him passionately, their breaths mingling. At that time, the police on the bridge ordered an attack on all people and zombies there. The commander, feeling guilty, chose to commit suicide. Takashi heard a dog barking downstairs and went out only to find chaos on the bridge. Zombies appeared on the streets, and compared to the rest inside the house, the bridge and streets were in complete turmoil. Some people started fighting back against the zombies, but were soon overwhelmed after killing a few. Takashi thought about going downstairs to help, but Busujima stopped him. Gunshots would attract zombies. She turned off the lights inside the room. Living people would be drawn to the light inside, so all they could do was watch coldly from the sidelines. Busujima handed Takashi the binoculars. Disappointed, Takashi listened as Busujima told him this was reality. Outside, zombies were eating people. Takashi looked down from the balcony and saw a father with his daughter seeking help at a brightly lit mansion. He didn't care about his own survival, only hoping the household would save his daughter. But in such times, no one dared open the door. Desperate, the father threatened to break in. The door opened, seemingly a sign of hope, only for the father to be killed instantly. The little girl saw her father die before her eyes, and he told her to hide just before dying. The girl's crying attracted the zombies. Unable to bear it any longer, Takashi was about to act when Kota shot the zombie in the head. Under Kota's cover, Takashi went downstairs and asked Miyamoto and Busujima to guard the main door. The sound of the motorcycle drew countless zombies. Saya was woken up by the noise and asked what was happening. Miyamoto thought for a moment and told her that they might still have some human conscience left. Takashi drove to the mansion where he encountered a stumbling zombie. Luckily, Kota continuously provided cover with his bullets, and the little girl was protected by a dog. Takashi attacked the zombie with a crowbar, aided by the girl's directions to handle a surprise attack. Saya woke up the sleeping Marikawa and, with the naked Marikawa, found Kota to notify everyone to prepare for evacuation. She told Marikawa to put on some pants. Everyone was worried about how Takashi would return, but Marikawa suggested going to pick him up. After all, the car keys were in the room. Everyone got ready and packed the luggage. Marikawa, unfamiliar with the driving cabin, felt confused. When the packing was nearly done, Saya signaled to Kota, but he noticed something unusual on Takashi's side. Takashi closed the gate and quickly held a funeral for the girl's father. The road was blocked, but Takashi noticed a path over the wall. He carried the girl across a plank bridge, and she had to relieve herself there, having not gone all day. The area below was swarming with zombies. Unexpectedly, Busujima and others had started up an armored vehicle. The The specially reinforced vehicle successfully knocked the zombies away. Once the vehicle stopped, Busujima jumped out and broke through, while Kota knocked down a large group of zombies with his sprayer. Takashi took this chance to carry the girl to the vehicle. He stumbled into Miyamoto and Busujima's arms. They started the vehicle and continued across the river. The US president and speaker were bitten by zombies. Before dying, the president planned to launch missiles at missile bases around the world to ensure other people could survive. Meanwhile, the bridge was impassable. Takashi and others crossed the river using their modified vehicle. Everyone in the vehicle fell asleep, with Busujima still in her apron, resting on Takashi's lap, almost revealing more than intended. Takashi awkwardly turned his head away. Next to him was Miyamoto in a tank top. Takashi scratched his head, suggesting they go change their clothes. Currently, there were no people or zombies seen on this side of the bridge. Miyamoto hugged the little girl and got off to change clothes. Kota told Takashi that the girl's name was Alice, a second grader whose parents had died in the zombie incident. The rescued dog with them was named Jike. Marikawa had plundered many clothes from friends, and the girls happily picked out suitable outfits. Kota handed a shotgun to Takashi and explained in detail how to use it and its lethality. The gun had a strong recoil, so he warned Takashi to be mentally prepared. After their conversation, they looked back at the 4 girls who had changed into new combat uniforms, which touched Kota deeply. The gun Miyamoto carried, equipped with a bayonet, suited her well. After getting ready, Takashi and the others went up to the riverbank to check the situation. Confirming there were no zombies above, Marikawa drove up. However, the river did not stop the zombies, and the nearest place was Saya's home. They decided to head to Nikome to check it out first. Strangely, since dawn, there had been no helicopter activity, and they hadn't encountered any zombies along the way. It was quiet, as if nothing had happened. Just as Takashi was about to relax, Kota suddenly pointed out that there were zombies ahead, increasing as they approached Nikome. Realizing the danger, especially Takashi and Miyamoto on the car roof, originally led by Saya, they tried to avoid areas with many zombies. The path was also filled with zombies. Marikawa intended to rush through in one go, but Kota, with sharp eyes, spotted a wire ahead. Marikawa braked hard, stopping just before the wire. However, Miyamoto, due to the high speed, tumbled off the car and couldn't stand up because of the pain. Takashi quickly jumped out and used the shotgun, but it was ineffective. Under Kota's guidance, he aimed at the chest, which worked much better. However, there were too many zombies to clear. Takashi's bullets scattered all over the ground. Kota came out to cover, while Senior Busujima planned to fight with a wooden sword. Everyone knew they were at a dead end. Takashi hugged Miyamoto, intending to die together. But in that embrace, he found Miyamoto was a perfect stabilizer. Thus, the most abstract battle scene ensued. Takashi slid the gunpowder bolt, and the muzzle shake was countered by Miyamoto's chest. Bullets passed between Senior Busujima's legs, and after she did a backflip, the bullets passed through her swaying softness to hit a zombie. At the same time, Busujima decapitated another zombie with her sword. Though he had a stabilizing point, Takashi couldn't hit the zombies perfectly. Kota ran out of bullets, and Alice, despite her fear, handed him more. Saya stopped running, jumped down from the vehicle, picked up a gun, and prepared to attack the zombies. The vehicle wouldn't start, and everyone fought for an afternoon. Jike rushed out and bit the zombies. Eventually, Takashi grabbed the gun barrel from Saya's hands. With no bullets left, he swung the barrel and charged forward. Busujima followed closely, both engaging in close combat to draw the zombies away. However, they could only lead away some of them. Saya hugged Miyamoto on the ground, while Kota decided to take Alice and Jike behind the wire. Alice didn't want to leave Kota and the others. Just when all seemed lost, a team arrived from behind the wire. They used air guns to repel the zombies and rescued the trapped individuals in an orderly manner. The leader removed her helmet, revealing herself to be Saya's mother. While they were rescued, Takashi was blocked. He decided to take Busujima on a detour to Saya's house. Surrounded by zombies and Saya's house in sight, they couldn't get through. Takashi decided to find a vehicle and entered a motorcycle shop. Unexpectedly, they found an amphibious electric vehicle. They rushed to the riverbank and jumped into the river using the water vehicle. Takashi turned to ask Senior how she was, only to see Busujima's wet appearance, embarrassing him. Seeing they couldn't catch up, the zombies left the riverbank. Takashi drove with Busujima straight to a sandy island in the middle of the river. They planned to take turns on guard, but Busujima caught a chill. Takashi quickly found a black vest for Busujima to change into while he turned away, not watching her change. Busujima felt moved, realizing Takashi had always seen her as a girl. Embarrassed, Takashi curiously asked if Busujima had ever liked someone before. Indeed, Busujima had liked a boy, making Takashi look away disappointedly. Around dusk, Takashi noticed fewer zombies. He and Busujima headed straight for Central Park on land. They used tape to wrap the throttle, causing the electric cart to continuously spin in a pond. The buzzing sound from the cart continuously attracted the zombies' attention, allowing them to take a detour to Saya's house. During this time, Takashi hoped to avoid using guns. Busujima was best at kendo. She started killing zombies in the park with a wooden sword. However, the next target was a child, and Busujima hesitated to strike. Takashi had to step forward and shoot, and they took refuge in a shrine. Inside, they found many real swords. Busujima felt conflicted. Takashi handed Busujima his dried school uniform. They planned to spend the night there before leaving. Being alone increased the romantic tension. Busujima decided to share her past. On the sandbar, Takashi had asked if she liked any boys. Busujima said yes, but had never expressed her feelings because she almost killed someone. Takashi was surprised when Busujima explained it was 4 years ago when a man attacked her at night. She had a wooden sword, and he was no match for her. Busujima broke his shoulder and thigh. Takashi thought it was normal self-defense. But Busujima said that during the attack, she realized she had an absolute advantage. She let the criminal get closer, and then used his crime to violently retaliate, enjoying the feeling of dominating him. She believed everyone would find such thoughts in a girl frightening, revealing her true nature. Busujima felt she was too evil, almost monstrous. Takashi grabbed her hand. They looked at each other, and he kissed her. What they did that night remains unknown. The next morning, Takashi opened the door, expecting the zombies to have left, but found the shrine quickly surrounded again. Takashi urged Busujima to run, but she hesitated. So, Takashi passionately confessed his feelings, declaring that no matter her nature, he would always love her. Busujima relaxed after being reassured. She drew a real sword and began a killing spree, smiling more with each person she cut down. She even reached a peak of happiness during the process of cutting. The two left the shrine, and Busujima made Takashi take responsibility. They successfully arrived at Saya's house. A week had passed since they reached Saya's home. During this week, Miyamoto, who was injured, received a massage from Marikawa on the bed with Takashi's help. They managed to live relatively well. Miyamoto hinted at Takashi to apply medicine on him, but Takashi did not understand and was angrily sent out by Miyamoto. He intended to help others move things, but then Busujima, dressed in a kimono, appeared. They exchanged glances, feeling embarrassed due to their previous ambiguity. Meanwhile, Saya and her mother had a big argument. After bumping into Takashi and snorting twice, she turned and left. She then met Kota in the basement, who was oiling guns. Saya told Kota they could only be happy for a moment, as they couldn't stay in this house forever since maintaining utilities was too difficult. Takashi also met Saya's mother, an elegant lady who told him that on the first day of the disaster, the command center protected the water and power plants against the Prime Minister's orders, which kept the utility systems from collapsing. However, the workers at the plants also had families and couldn't work there endlessly. Thus, Saya's mother planned to lead the survivors away. Knowing she couldn't persuade her daughter, she hoped Takashi would help. On the other hand, Saya told Kota that the people there treated them like children and never consulted them on decisions. Therefore, she decided to gather all the teammates in Miyamoto's room for a discussion. Although they were now a team, Saya's parents were better prepared, having quickly gathered supplies and defenses within 2 days, successfully protecting the nearby residents. Yet, Saya was unhappy. Her parents were competent, but on the first day of the zombie outbreak, they assumed she might not survive and gave up on rescuing her. Saya couldn't accept this reasoning. Seeing her emotionally upset, Takashi grabbed Saya by the collar and told her that among all of them, only she knew her parents were still alive. The others didn't even have the chance to argue with their parents. Saya calmed down and was about to share her plan when her father, Takashiro, returned. As the leader of the refuge, He brought a zombie before everyone and executed a former subordinate without hesitation, declaring that survival required fighting. Kota thought Takashiro's blade was too dull, which seemed abnormal, leading to a dispute among them. Frustrated, Kota left. Alice approached Takashi, hoping they wouldn't argue. Takashi paused, recalling a story about a warship crew that rebelled due to the comfort of shore leave, coining the phrase, "death by comfort." He wondered if they were facing a similar predicament. Before Takashi could reflect further, Alice informed him that Kota was in danger. They rushed to find that the estate's people were trying to take all the guns from Kota, who insisted that he had borrowed them and was the most skilled at using them. However, the adults didn't care and attempted to take them by force. Meanwhile, Saya and Busujima knew that the days of comfort were gone, and they were merely living a pretense of normalcy. They had to choose between being consumed or separating. At that moment, Takashiro approached Kota about surrendering his guns. Takashi answered for him, highlighting that Kota had been protecting Saya since they left the school. Both Busujima and Saya acknowledged Kota's actions. Unbeknownst to them, an individual named Fuji was targeting their refuge, brainwashing classmates and expelling any dissenting students from the school bus. Inside the refuge, some survivors believed the zombies were just sick, a conspiracy by the government. When Saya revealed the truth, they accused her of promoting violence, claiming that the adults knew better. Saya was infuriated, but Kota understood that these people were avoiding reality. People often evade what they don't want to see, resisting the truth subconsciously and trying to keep everything as it was, even knowing it was impossible. Takashi paused, reminded of Miyamoto and a close friend, feeling as if he had learned a lesson. Saya and Kota think highly of Takashi for his ability to admit his flaws. They agree that Takashi is the natural leader of their group. Meanwhile, Takashiro gifted his katana to Busujima, who is a rising star in Japanese swordsmanship. She immediately recognized the sword as a genuine Muramasa, capable of cutting through bone without chipping. Takashiro, having been mentored by Busujima's father, did not hesitate to give her the sword. Takashiro's true intention was for Busujima to protect Saya, seeing that Takashi was still confused. In such critical times, he knew that confusion could lead to peril. Takashi returned to his room deep in thought when Miyamoto came to see him. She told him that everyone trusted him and that girls like someone who dotes on them. Initially, Miyamoto was upset with Takashi's pessimistic words, but after the zombie outbreak, she realized that despite his words, Takashi bravely stood up. She had misunderstood him. Miyamoto confessed that even if Takashi fell for someone else, she would always want to stay by his side. Overcome with emotion, Takashi embraced her, but they only shared a kiss since Miyamoto's back injury hadn't healed. Opening the door, Miyamoto was surprised to see Busujima. After a brief look, Busujima told her not to call her senpai, as they would have been peers if Miyamoto hadn't repeated a year. Miyamoto looked away. At the same time, scoundrel Fuji, using seduction, managed to infiltrate the refuge's headquarters. Takashi informed Takashiro that they planned to find Miyamoto's mother. Takashiro told him they would leave the next day. Takashi said he would return before leaving, and if not, he might choose to stay home, and the main group should not wait for him. As everyone prepared to depart, Miyamoto spotted Fuji and immediately drew her gun and charged at him. Fuji had disguised himself as a kind teacher, leading students away. Coming from the Fuji family, with a father as a member of parliament, his least favorite person was his father, who had driven his mother to death and used his position as a teacher to force the police officer investigating him to make his daughter, Miyamoto, repeat a year. Miyamoto's father tearfully apologized to her. She didn't care about her grades but was concerned about her father's dignity. She had intended to endure until her father finished investigating the Fuji family. However, the apocalypse allowed these scoundrels to escape. Miyamoto almost resorted to violence, and Fuji even tried to use her identity against her. Unexpectedly, Takashiro mentioned he had met Fuji's father and confirmed he was indeed no good. He told Miyamoto not to hesitate if she wanted to kill. Takashi stepped forward to stop her, as killing in such circumstances could harm her mentally. However, Busujima held him back, insisting this was for Miyamoto to resolve. Eventually, Miyamoto put down her gun, feeling that Fuji was not worth sullying her hands. Takashiro mercilessly expelled Fuji and the students he had corrupted. Meanwhile, the US president ordered missile launches. With presidents changing daily, they followed orders without hesitation, launching intercontinental missiles. Global missile launches were detected in space, with countries ready to engage in nuclear warfare. Despite the zombie outbreak, international conflicts continued. Normally, missiles could intercept each other, but one ship was attacked by zombies, delaying its launch and causing the atomic bomb to drop instantly. Elsewhere, Marikawa finally remembered a friend's phone number and made the call. She reached AniShiro-Kun, who didn't care what she had taken but asked where Marikawa was. Just then, a flash of light passed overhead and the signal cut off. AniShiro-Kun realized that from tonight, the world would be in complete chaos. Saya also saw the light and quickly realized the grave situation. The flash likely was an electromagnetic pulse that could instantly disable all electronic devices. Upon hearing this, Takashiro asked his daughter how to handle it. Saya told him they could only try to replace the damaged parts, earning her father's praise. Meanwhile, Fuji, the scoundrel, caused further trouble by crashing into the refuge's barrier due to brake failure, allowing zombies to invade the shelter. Takashiro promptly ordered the gates closed. However, one zombie slipped through, and Kota immediately shot it in the head. When a retainer delivered weapons, Saya's mother quickly ripped her skirt and handed her own pistol to Saya. More and more zombies surrounded them, and soon, the gate could no longer hold and collapsed. Takashi decisively called everyone to retreat, as chaos engulfed the shelter. Those who had previously claimed the zombies were merely sick now violently fought back with knives. The defensive line below was breached. Upon learning that survivors in the neighboring shelter were safe, Takashiro decided to lead those willing to fight to the next shelter, leaving others to guard the yard. Takashiro entrusted Saya to Kota and Takashi. Saya's parents chose to stay and continue fighting the zombies, showing their love by keeping her out of the fray. Tearfully bidding farewell to her parents, Saya followed Takashi and the others. Takashiro then threw bombs against the zombies. The group made it to the garage, where the good news was the armored vehicle had an anti-electromagnetic pulse coating. The bad news was the damage from a previous collision was not fully repaired. They had no choice but to hold their ground in the warehouse. As they fought the zombies, Takashiro and his wife charged into the horde. The mechanic fixed the remaining issues just in time. Marikawa started the engine, urging everyone back into the vehicle. Takashi wanted to take the mechanic with them, but he refused, staying behind for his loved one. After watching Takashi and others leave, the mechanic fought off zombies with a wrench. As the vehicle passed Takashiro, Saya caught one last glimpse of her father. The vehicle left the shelter, blocked by Fuji's vehicle on the road. Busujima cut through the opened car door with a knife, helping everyone escape the shelter, while the couple inside continued to fight. The vehicle was in poor condition, but Takashi decided to prioritize rescuing others. Once on the national highway, they found it overrun with zombies. The trio climbed back on top of the vehicle and fought their way through, reaching a shopping mall despite the vehicle's damage. On their escape, the group found a boat and accidentally ended up on an uninhabited island with holiday cottages. Although closed and without food, there was plenty of water and swimsuits in the store. The girls changed into swimsuits, leaving Kota and Takashi bewildered. The girls then encouraged Takashi and the others to look for food while they happily played in the sea. The view was breathtaking with endless spring scenery and raging waves. Until the afternoon, Takashi hadn't found any delicacies. However, Kota successfully caught some fish from the sea. He had learned survival skills in England before. "You really are talented." As the fish grilled, a strange smell wafted over. Marikawa, a doctor, was the first to notice something was wrong. "It's the smell of hydrangeas. It causes hallucinations once inhaled." Takashi quickly urged everyone to run away, but Miyamoto and Marikawa tackled him before he could react. Before he realized, Saya sprayed him with cleansing foam. Fortunately, at the crucial moment, Busujima grabbed Takashi's wrist and pulled him away. Meanwhile, Marikawa and Saya exchanged glances, mistaking each other for their best friend, AniShiro-Kun, and a beautiful mother, respectively. However, Busujima couldn't control herself either. She trembled, grabbed Takashi, and kissed him. Marikawa and Saya hugged each other, starting to get affectionate. Next door, Takashi and Busujima spent a passionate night without sleep. The next morning, Marikawa and Saya woke up. looking at each other, wearing not a single piece of clothing, trying to act as if nothing happened. However, turning their heads, they saw Busujima and Miyamoto kissing naked under the sun. Saya's heart-wrenching scream echoed. Later, the five sat under the sunset, trying to erase their dark past. That's when Alice informed everyone that something serious had happened to Takashi. Approaching, they saw Takashi surrounded by 4 women, all zombies. It was miraculous he could defend himself all night, still shouting, "Damn it, damn it." Miyamoto, annoyed, yelled at him. Suddenly, a zombie fell, and Takashi was launched into the air. This island has an underground tunnel leading to the city center, so their battle continued.